we're going to kind of go over stuff from the week that I hope you have done, that I hope you understand, that I hope you have sort of tried to learn on your own. But just in case, we're going to go over it all today, make sure we're all on the same page. And then on Monday, so it's weird because I can't actually talk to the people that are at school because they can't Zoom from school. So basically what I'm going to do on Monday is if you are here today, you do not need to Zoom in on Monday. So if you're at school, you can't. And if you're all virtual, you still don't have to. I'll have some assignments for you to do. So I'll show you like my Canvas page here. I'll just show you right now so you kind of understand what I'm talking about. It really took a long time for me to like sort through how this would work. But so like I'm posting lessons if you haven't looked at my lesson today. So like if you're in my classroom, this is what you're working on today because I can't talk to those people, right? So they have a vocab assignment to do, some studyspanish.com to practice and some Quizlet and then just getting in anything that's missing, okay? So obviously today we are going to go through all of these things. Then on Monday, I'm going to do this same thing with the people that aren't here today. So that means if you are at school on Monday, this is what you're going to do. All right. And if you're all virtual, you're still going to do this on Monday because you will have already done this with me today. All right. So hopefully that kind of makes sense. It really like took me a few minutes to like work through how to teach like this. Luckily, we only have 2 more days like this, and then we're all virtual again on Wednesday. So then we're all back together. So anyways, that's kind of where we're at. That's what we're doing. Hopefully that makes sense. I don't know if you guys have texted me or messaged me stuff. I've been here. I've been grading stuff. I've been responding to questions. So I think most of you are up to date on questions and concerns. But if you have any further things, like just because we haven't been Zooming does not mean I have not been there. So you can always message me. Okay. All right, well, I think that's kind of the scoop. So if you would like to join me now on your current lesson, if you're not there, head there. So the first thing I want to do is go over this quiz that you took for me, I think on Tuesday, and make sure that if you have questions on that, you let me know. Thank you for taking that without me there to, I don't know, guide you. I guess it's pretty self-explanatory. So why don't you open up that quiz? I believe everybody in here right now has taken it. If you have not taken it, please let me know like now, but I think everybody here took it. So why don't you take a minute or two, click on your quiz, and then I would be happy to hit the highlights and go over any questions that you might have. Obviously, we are still using all this imperfect. So what we're kind of transitioning to now is preterite versus imperfect, which is what we're going to talk about a bunch today. So I'm going to stop talking for a minute or two, look over your quiz, put questions in the chat that you want me to go over, and then we'll meet up again in a minute or two. Then let's continue. So I believe the next thing on your list is your notes on preterite versus imperfect. All right. Now, the good thing is I tried to set the stage for this last week while we were actually teaching normally-ish. So hopefully this was not like a huge shock for you because most of the stuff we talked about before. So why don't you grab your notes? I will screen share them. I'm sorry that I cannot print them for you because I feel like I really liked printing things for you, but it is what it is. So you should be looking at number 2. It says review notes, preterite versus imperfect. All right. And those are there for today. They were from yesterday. I will screen share them with you. And I want to spend some time on this. And then I asked you yesterday in theory to go through and kind of look at some of these on the back. I want to go through all that. So I need you to have some really good notes on preterite versus imperfect is what I'm saying. So if you were able to print this, that would be super helpful. If you were not able to print it, then make sure you have it somewhere where we can either type on it or you can write on a piece of paper because we want you to make sure that you have these notes under control. All right, so I'm going to screen share them with you. You can look at mine if you want, or split your screen so you're looking at mine and you're looking at yours. Might be useful as we talk through it. Now, the front you already have. It's more, I guess, on the back. So you can look at mine or yours. Doesn't really matter here on the front. Okay, so ready? Get your focus on, and I'm going to explain the difference between preterite versus imperfect. And again, I feel like this is a little bit repetitive because I did introduce you to this last week, but I need you to make sure you understand it this week. Okay, so here I go. Both of these are forms of el pasado. They're both the past tense. Okay, we have the preterite, which we did first. Completed actions, clear beginning and end, actions in a story. All right. So like I went to the store, I bought ice cream, I ate the ice cream yesterday, right? So all completed actions. You're no longer going to the store. It was a one-time thing. You bought the ice cream, you ate the ice cream. Those are the actions of your story. There's a clear beginning and end. They are all completed. All right. Vocab, there's a ton of vocab. I just gave you the basics. I gave you ayer, yesterday, anoche, last night, la semana pasada, last week, el año pasado, last year. You could do last Tuesday. You could do this morning, right? I did something. You could add on no, I got yesterday, last night. You could do last week, last month, last Tuesday. So again, any like specific period of time that's done. Last summer, last fall, last winter. So any of those would add on. This is certainly not all the vocab. I just kind of wanted to give you some examples. And then I'm reminding you, what do these words look like? Well, they tend to end with a, aste, o, amos, or aron. Iste, io, imos, or ieron. Of course, there are a ton of irregulars, right? We spent tons of time talking about all the irregulars. We had fui, and we had v, and we had d, and we had all those yo verbs. We had iste, and we had pude and trache. So there are a ton of irregulars. Obviously, I did not list them all. All right. So those are all things that we think about when we choose a preterite verb. Now, these are all things we think about when we choose an imperfect verb, right? Things that you used to do, what things used to be like. Then we have this little waters that I kind of talked about last week, which is weather, age, time, emotions or feelings, repeated actions and settings and description. So all of these would cause you to choose an imperfect verb. All right. Anytime you're describing the weather, it's all this background. It's really descriptions. If you think about this, almost all of this is descriptions. You're describing what the weather was like. You're describing your age. You're describing what time it was. You're describing how you were feeling. All right. And then you have some repeated actions. But again, most of this is describing the past. All right. Useful vocab that often goes with the imperfect. I always used to something. I never, I sometimes, every day, often, when I was a child, as a child. Again, there's more. Instead of saying every day, you could say every Monday I used to do something, or every summer I used to do something. So again, just trying to give you some ideas of words that would clue you in to use the imperfect. And again, your endings, we just did these. That's the aba, abas, and the ia, ias, ia. And of course, there aren't too many irregulars. I guess I could have even listed those, right? We had era, we had iba, and we had veia. So that's what you need to understand. Then you need to start choosing which verb to use, okay? So what I had hoped you would do is start in English. And I said, I want you to write down or circle or somehow note whether it was preterite or imperfect. That would be required if you wrote these sentences in Spanish, and why. So I would really like to go through those now. I'm hoping that you maybe did this already yesterday. I guess if you didn't, you didn't. So you can look at it with us now. And then I need you to write these down somewhere. Okay, so either you type them as I type them, or you have them on a separate piece of paper. But these, like I said, are basically your notes on this topic. Okay, so I'll be looking for some participation. Obviously, nobody's gotten any points this week. So if you can help us out with some of these, make sure you're ready to raise your hand. I'm looking at you. So I've got my pictures out here. And either turn on your camera or put up your little blue hand as we go through these. So I'm not asking you to translate them. I'm asking you, if you were going to translate them, would you use preterite or imperfect verb, and why? Okay. So if I wanted to say it was a dark and stormy night, which kind of verb would I use and why? So basically tell me preterite or imperfect, and then you tell me because it's a completed action or because it describes the weather. Okay, that's what I want to know. Anybody want to try number one for me? Anyone? Anyone? Do you want me to do number one? Is this confusing? Or are you just being quiet?
I'll go.
I'll go. Okay, thanks, Kendall.
Is it imperfect because it's describing the weather?
Sure is. So I'm just going to put an I for imperfect. And then, yeah, I would say it's describing the weather or kind of the setting, either way, however you want to think about that, but definitely imperfect. Okay. All right. Somebody want to try number 2? Hillary?
I said that it was preterite because it has yesterday in it.
Yeah, totally. Preterite. So I'll write that. All right, yesterday. Or what else is it? I guess it's a completed action. Okay, because again, you went to the zoo yesterday. It's done. It's one thing, beginning and end. Good. All right, how about if you're saying he was tall with brown hair and blue eyes? What do you think about
Imperfect.
that one?
Imperfect.
Go ahead, Caleb.
Imperfect.
Okay, and why did you put that?
It's descriptions. Just
Perfect.
describing.
Yeah. So imperfect, and I would say absolutely, it's a description of someone. Okay. So description can be of a place or it can be of a person, right? That's ongoing. He was tall, brown hair, blue eyes. He's probably still tall, brown hair, blue eyes. All right. How about suddenly the doorbell rang? What do you think? Suddenly the doorbell rang. How about my turn to call on people? Anybody else that hasn't gone yet want to volunteer? All right. I'm gonna start hitting randomly here. Let's go. How about Joel? Suddenly the doorbell rang. Okay, how about Zoe?
Preterite because it's a completed action.
Perfect. Thanks, Zoe. Yeah, the doorbell rang. It's done. It was one thing. Okay, one time. All right. She was so happy at her party. What do you think? She was happy at her party. I don't know. How about Brayden? How about Evelyn?
I said imperfect because it's emotion.
Totally. Emotion or feeling. Perfect. Thanks, Evelyn. All right. How about we used to go to the beach every summer? Reese?
Imperfect,
Yep. Why?
because setting, I guess.
Maybe I would focus more on this. We used to go.
Yeah.
So look up here. Used to go. You could either just say used to go, or which one of these would that fall under? If we used to go every summer, which one are you thinking, Reese? Look at this waters thing. We used to go every summer.
Time.
Would that be a repeated action? You see that? So that's what I would put. Repeated action. Okay. Or what you used to do. Either way, they imply the same thing. All right. It was 5:30 in the afternoon. Magali? How about Alejandro?
I'm gonna say imperfect.
Yes, because
Has a time.
yeah, perfect. Anytime you're talking about the time in the past tense, using perfect, right? Era or eran, I guess in this case, eran. All right, sounds good. They worked at 9 a.m. yesterday. How about Brandon A?
I didn't unmute myself.
What do you think? They worked at 9 yesterday. I'll look at your choices up here.
So it'd be preterite.
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it'd be preterite. And why were you thinking that?
It's a past action.
Yeah, totally. It's a completed action. It's done. Or I actually specifically use the word yesterday to tell you it was done yesterday, right? So completed action. Great. And last one. They were 15 that summer. I guess I meant 15. Maybe I should have clarified that. They were 15 years old. Sorry if that was unclear. So what do you think? Who haven't I talked to? Brian?
I'm sorry, miss, I couldn't hear.
That's okay. What do you think? Would I use preterite or imperfect if I'm talking about they were 15 years old?
Is it
I'll go up here so you can see the reasons.
all right.
What do you think? Looking yellow or blue?
Is it yellow?
Uh-huh. Because
Is it
it's
A?
there. Say it again, Brian. I think I was talking when you were talking.
Is it age?
Yeah.
Or
Mhm.
all right.
Yeah. So I'm going to say imperfect because of age, right? So you'd use the verb tenían. All right. So that's step one, guys. And this is just a slow process. You have to think through, what am I talking about? Am I talking about in English, right? Unless you already have a little Spanish background here, you're going to think about it in English first. You're going to think, am I talking about a completed action, or am I talking about kind of a description of time or what things used to be like, or age or weather? And then you can actually put together some sentences. So let's try this. All right. So here's what I want. Hopefully you've already maybe tried it a little bit on your own, so you have something to start with. I guess that's what I need. I need a starting place, and then we can sort of fix it up if we need to. So the first thing you need to do, obviously, is decide preterite or imperfect. And then you need to come up with the word, right? If it's preterite, I might be using the word tuve. If it's imperfect, I'd be using the word tenía. So that's what it helps you figure out. So first of all, he was tall with blue eyes. Well, that looks a lot like this one, right? So number 3. So we know we're going to use the imperfect. So somebody want to give me something to start with here? What could I start with?
I started with El Era.
Okay, perfect. So we're going to say, oops, why can I not type? We're going to say era. All right, so now I need the words tall and blue eyes. El era, did you have any more, Hillary?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, keep going.
I said El Era alto con ojos azules.
Perfect. That looks pretty much perfect to me. Okay, so again, we came up with the sentence. Because it was imperfect, I used the verb era, and then I just finished the sentence. All right, so what's this gonna look like? We used to go to Florida every year. So I need that verb, we used to go. So in your head, you're thinking preterite or imperfect. Am I gonna use íbamos or am I gonna use fuimos? That's what you're thinking to yourself. And then you've got the rest of the sentence from there. So what do you think? Anybody hasn't gone yet today would be preferable, but I feel like I've got a lot of quiet people out there. Like,
Íbamos.
oh, there we go. Okay, Alejandro, what? Say it again, Alejandro.
Íbamos
Mhm.
al Florida
Uh-huh.
el otro año.
Oops, I didn't put my accent there. Hold on. Let's see. But I'll capitalize that for me. Okay, íbamos a la Florida cada año. That's what I would do, something like that. I guess you don't need the la, either way. Íbamos a Florida or a la Florida cada año. We used to go every year. Looks good to me, gracias. All right, what about she was sad? She was sad. It's how she was feeling. Right? You already told me up here. Let's see. It was like this one. She was happy. So I already know I'm using the imperfect. What do you think? Anyone?
Ella estaba.
Okay. Thank you. Ella estaba. Go ahead, finish it, Alejandro. Sad.
I forgot the word.
Anybody help him? I started it.
Oh, triste.
Tuesday.
There it is. All right. So this one's kind of interesting. Let's talk about this one for a minute. So you knew it was imperfect because it was feeling, right? Now, here's what I often see with something like this. So pay attention so you don't make this mistake. Sometimes I'll see era instead of estaba, but then you have to go back to how you feel and where you are. Always use the verb estar, right? So make sure you're using a star if you're talking about a feeling or location. So you kind of have two choices here, preterite or imperfect, and then ser or a star. All right. They went to the concert last night. What do you think? They went to the concert last night. Who's gonna help with the last one? The last one. So I don't have to sing and sit here and sing. Come on.
Ustedes fuimos. I mean, no, ustedes fueron.
No, okay. Yeah, I'm gonna change you, not ustedes, though. You meant ellos. Ustedes would be you guys. So fueron, thank you. You know the word for concert, Caleb? No, concierto. Last night, anoche. There it is. So we just had one preterite one there. All right, so hopefully you've got some good notes there now. I'll leave this for a second. Like I said, I need you to have this. So either you are writing this with me, you are typing this with me, you printed it out already, you typed it in the document as we went. I don't know, but somehow these are your notes, so I need you to make sure that you have them. Does anyone need me to not put this down yet? Going once, going twice. Okay. So hopefully if you were at all fuzzy on preterite versus imperfect, that helps. All right. So you have to just think about what reason you are using when you make this choice. Okay, so let me kind of start to gather our thoughts here. I'm going back to our current lesson if you want to look at it with me. So we are down here to one last thing I'm going to let you do here in a minute. This is a practice where you have to choose preterite or imperfect. So like I give you the choice, yo fui or yo era. All right, you have to choose the right one. So take your time on that. In a minute here when I let you go do that. And Kendall, I think that's probably what you already did. So let me know if you need another chance, but I think I maybe gave you 2 chances anyway. So that's what I want you to finish up with. All right. Then over the weekend or / at the end of the period, because I am almost wrapping up here, I'd like you to spend a little time on Quizlet. I don't know if you noticed, but this vocab list is a little bit longer because it's the whole chapter instead of splitting it in half because there wasn't a great place to split it. So I just want to make sure that you are getting started on spending some time, making sure you're recognizing these words. They all have to do with what? Who's looked at your vocab? What's this chapter about? I think it's about El Arte, if you haven't looked recently. So take a look, and we're going to do some stuff related to art throughout the rest of the semester with the time that we have left starting next week. So make sure you're spending a little time on that. Like I said, just to remind you that on Monday, you're going to work on this textbook practice. You're going to work on this little grammar, preterite versus imperfect, and you're going to work on some Quizlet, and you're going to go back and make sure you're up to date with all of your assignments so that you are ready to go for Tuesday. What I kind of envision Tuesday is giving you maybe some time to work on a couple of things, and then Wednesday we'll be back together. And we'll probably be about ready for a little quiz over preterite versus imperfect. So that's where we are headed next week. And then we're going to do a couple things on art before we break for Thanksgiving. So that's kind of where we're headed here. I think that's pretty much all I needed to go over with you today. So let me remind you, if you are here and you're feeling okay about preterite imperfect, I do not need to see you on Zoom on Monday. Whether you are all virtual or you are in class, you can work on those other assignments. And then I will see you again on Tuesday. Does anyone have any general questions? Things making sense? Okay, so I'm gonna let you leave the Zoom, but I want you to do that last practice right now, okay? So right now, go to that preterite versus imperfect. It's under quizzes, but it's under your current lesson, and give that a try. Show me you've been paying attention and you are seeing a difference between the two, okay? If you have any questions, stick around. Otherwise, you may go finish that on your own time and do some Quizlet. Have a great weekend. Hasta luego. I'll see you Tuesday.